Alright guys, we are all dolled up. We are on our way to the TechForce Event. As you all know, I am one of the panelists. And y'all know I had to have my personal assistant on my side. Alright, we'll see y'all at the school. Don't meet me there, beat me there. We'll talk soon. Ciao. Alright guys, it feels so great to actually be back on the grounds of my own college. It's an amazing feeling to actually be back here, not as a student this time, but as a panelist. And right now we're getting ready to try some of the free food. They got a taco truck out here. We're going to film and show what they have, and we're going to go see the art that's on display before the panel discussion starts at 6:30. So we'll see you later. What did you get, Donica?
They're getting the halal chicken grilled cheese. I have two of those.
Number two?
I got it ready right now.
Got the Philly grilled chicken.
For the other one.
Not for sure how you pronounce that. Hala.
Get the halal chicken.
Alright, and I got mine. I got the grilled cheese and the salt and vinegar. Alright. Going to meet my sister and her husband is here. How exciting. And the thing about it, I think she's wearing Rachel the Design shirt. It looks cute. Let's see. Oh, I love the shirt. Yes, ma'am.
Rachel Design.
Yes, ma'am. And the thing about this is one of the first time my sister came to this location when I was attending this as a student. Okay. Oh my God. Turn around, Donica. Turn your back, Donica. Oh. Yes, ma'am. I love Donica. Okay, good. Just a 10. A 10.
My name is Cher, and I'm one of the instructors here. I teach graphic design. I teach Adobe Illustrator, Adobe InDesign, and Adobe Photoshop. These are all past students of ours. We have watched them grow into wonderful designers, and they are now actually working, employed designers, which is what we really love. That's what we strive for here. Okay? So, let me introduce, I'm going to just say their names, but they're going to introduce themselves. We're going to ask them some questions to get them talking, and then we're going to open the floor for you to ask them your own questions, okay? Have Ms. Rachel Sheffield, Ms. Angela Humphreys, Ms. Robin Lewis, and Ms. Pat Salinas. All right? Rachel, would you like to just give us a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
Hello, my name is Rachel Sheffield. I was born and raised in Utah, Alabama. I moved away 10 years ago and started my graphic design career in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Before I started, I had to finish my GED. Later, I moved to Cypress, Texas to start the program at Lone Star Community College. So here we are 2 years later with a certificate in social applied science here with the program, and I own my own business. So that is for now.
Thank you. Angela? My name is Angie Humphreys, and this is my second career. I started off in the event industry and really gravitated towards all the graphics, the stationery, the invitations, the signage, and I found myself doing more work in that, or being more interested in that than I was the event design and planning itself. So I came to school here at Lone Star and got my certificate my associates, and now working full-time ministry.
Thank you, Robin.
Hey, I'm Robin. Where to start? I didn't know I
when I started here. I had no idea. I took an animation class, and my teacher was like, oh, you know, if you really like art and everything like that, you should really look into graphic design. I'm like, well, what do they do? And she's like, you know those big billboards you see, and you know the big signs in the front of businesses? And I was like, oh, I thought somebody's son made that or something like that. You know, I had no idea it was like a viable career. So after taking that animation class, I started taking more and more of the graphic design classes and absolutely fell in love with it, found out I had a talent for it, and the rest is history.
Later, I came here to Lone Star without any idea what I was going to do with my life. I simply kind of wanted to go to the arts, so I took a generalist art degree. And what was supposed to be my very last semester, I had to take a 3D modeling class. Found out how much I loved it. So I stayed at Lone Star and became a second associate in science and 3D animation. I now work locally for a small studio in Dallas, Cher Studios. We work on small kids cartoon shows for streaming networks. Work on grant projects for other clients and public their animation projects.
Thank you. I'm going to take a small second here to introduce myself again as an alumni. I have two other of my alumni who are also professors here. One just put a big old bite of sandwich in his face. I waited until you were going to take a bite to introduce you, and also Ms. Mindy in the back. So we've all been in these seats, we've all been in those seats, we've all been in those seats. And we just love Lone Star so much that we wanted to come back and pass that on to everyone else. All right, so I'm going to ask each of you some questions. They're all going to get a chance to answer. So I'm going to start off with Ms. Rachel. Rachel, what part does social media play in establishing new customers for your business or the company that you work for?
Okay, social media plays a huge role in gaining new clients daily. It plays a big role to be consistent in order to even be well known, being that this is a competition, very competitive field. So a lot of times I'm walking or in the grocery store or even wearing a shirt. That's that girl that we sell on social media, so I know it works all the time. And to even just put the icing on the cake, 97.9 The Box in Board Houston reached out to me by stating that, hey, we saw you on social media, we'd like to interview you. So social media plays a huge role for me.
Robin, don't you have a marketing job now?
I do. I just got a marketing job. So what I do with them is essentially keep their Facebook relevant. So I have to make, attractive graphics, and it's a lot of content writing as well. Like it's, I guess initially I thought like, oh, I can just make the pretty pictures, but you really do in graphic design like have to have a good way of communicating. So writing, I feel like, is essential to have under your belt in order to succeed with social media.
Andy, I know you're freelancing now.
Yes.
How are you doing in social media?
Social media hasn't been a big part of my game plan as of now. I've been working with agencies and kind of scoping them out first and haven't opened the floodgates to social media yet. So, so it's a little bit of a different route. I kind of stalk agencies and find out what works.
Pat, do you work in any social media and where you're working?
Actually, don't use it very often. I know a physical part of my studio head work and use constant networking for new clients to work with and see how they can put themselves online and getting their portfolio out there. And what we need to share some notes. So I have to do like social media very much. But it's not there regularly.
Yes, it is going to be on social media if you don't like social media, right? It's nice to know that there is a place for both, right? Kat, how often do you or did you work with a group on a project? And what's that working relationship like?
I fairly often, yeah. I usually work for going back and forth, and, especially the contract work or face-to-face campaign. We would constantly be in communication with the leaders and whatnot. Usually whoever's in charge of the studio head is kind of working together to work on in contact with each other, making sure everyone has what they need, constantly bouncing benefits and saying, hey, can you ask our leader for this? And sometimes asking people, hey, please keep your files a little nicer because other people are going to have to work for this too.
Time management doesn't shit taught me by.
So that I conversation with my boss asking me, please organize your
And Andy, I know that you're freelancing now, but you were working with a bigger company. Did you work on groups when you were in the company?
Definitely. It was pretty much constant working in groups, getting the other designers, or if you're working with the social media team or the web team, learning to collaborate, I think is a really big part of being successful, and taking other ideas and helping grow those ideas, and more than one brain makes it better. So, for sure.
Do you agree, Robin?
Yeah, I haven't worked with too many groups in the jobs that I've had. I feel like if anything, I've asked like my coworkers, like, hey, what do you think of these two colors? Like, I kind of limit them because I don't want them to be like, oh yeah, and then you should add a tree, and then a bush, and then, you know, all these 10 other things, and it gets crowded, and it's like, when you know the fundamentals, you can still collaborate with those who don't know the fundamentals, and you know, keep kind of more to a minimum, and, you know, they can feel like they're a part of the process.
Rachel?
Yes, so when I worked at a print shop located in Katy, Texas for like 10 months, I got a chance to collab very often because we had to take out a lot of work in different low-salt fees, schools, and so a lot of times we'll always collab and do management file work and collab and say, hey, how this look, and going back and forth with a lot of clients. So it was interesting to always have someone on the team and know exactly what the client wants, communicate that using the information they have given to executing in a timely manner. So yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, definitely more head for help.
Yes.
So Angela, you do work remotely. What are the challenges of working remotely?
Personally, I love working remotely. I do like small challenges as far as missing a team. I think that sometimes you do miss that daily interaction of being a team, but I find that you can get so much work done remotely personally. And it helps with personally with like work-life balance. If I go take 5 minutes to throw a load of laundry in the washer, my head just cleared for like the next hour or something. Challenges, I think, are knowing when to turn it off. When you work from home, your home is your office, you know, so there are days when you go much longer than the day before, but I think knowing when to turn it off, when to give your brain some rest is important.
Okay. Does anybody else work remotely? Everybody. All right. So Rachel, what do you find obstacles of working remotely are?
Very much convenient. I don't have to deal with traffic, and I understand the space that you have to have in order to feel like you're still working. I'm a morning person, so I'm usually starting my day by 5 o'clock, and in order to turn it off, I don't need no help turning it off. I'm very much an on schedule person, so from 5 to 2, I'm usually all productive, and you know, I take my breaks and whatnot. So I think it's very accessible from you know, learning how to deal with yourself, especially since the pandemic, you have to learn to like deal with yourself. So just learning how to slow down, be in your own environment, it's just successful. I love it. No complaints.
Robin, do you have any obstacles that you had to overcome when you were working remotely?
Yeah, I work a full-time job at one of the Harris County Public Library locations. So I work 9 to 6 there, and then I come home and I do 2 other jobs. So self-discipline is really necessary to work from home. Because of course when I get home I'm like, no, I just want to go to sleep, I want to play video games, whatever, and you really have to sit down and be like, no, we got to get this done, we can play after. So self-discipline is a huge part of working from home.
What about you, Pat? That works very well then. Me personally, I'm so happy to be back in the classroom and not online. Rachel, what other skills, software, design knowledge have you acquired or had to acquire in your current to complete project in your current business?
I don't have to use any other software to execute any of my projects. So
I saw that you make apps now though, so you have to learn how to do that.
So mostly I do that for like the design style of it.
Okay.
I have a client out in Austin, Texas, so he's doing a major project. So just like tapping into some information about that. So I really haven't like really said yes, yes.
Anyone else have any other new acquisition of knowledge,
For software.
software?
I
or-
did have to learn how to edit videos. We all got sent home in 2020 when I worked at the library, and they had to do their entire summer reading program virtually, and that required them all like meeting up at the administration building. They made these fun videos, and they're like, "But hey, who can edit?" Well, I have Premiere. They're like, "Cool, can you figure that out for us?"
You're a new expert.
Okay. So that was fun. New thing under my belt.
There you go.
Definitely learning new software. I feel like I'm kind of jumping to one of the other questions, but one of like the most surprising things for me is how much there's still to learn and how constant you have to be continuing your education. And so, but the more you do that, the more doors it open, the more projects you get. So definitely learning new software was big for me, whether it's learn how to make this 3D model or all kinds of things.
When I first started my job, I had to learn the character, so it's what kind of touch before. So I had to take you through and start figuring that out. And it's relatively young software, so usually it goes through the there's usually new updates coming out, so it's adding extra features on there.
Yeah.
Sometimes they break between updates.
Yeah.
So go back to the versions. Also, that kind of really, for other parts of the project, I really go around missions and put together audio for the show. That was fun, but
We all know that Adobe updates every 3 days, so you always have to learn Adobe all over again.
Yes.
I think I still work with my 2019. I'm like, but that's what I
What an
know.
old lady you are. God, boomer.
I know.
Robin, this one's for you. What's the biggest change or adjustment for you going from a VisCom student to a working visual designer or a working visual?
Really kind of going back to the whole, I like people to be involved in the collaboration, but it was kind of hard being the only person who's got an idea of kind of like the fundamentals of everything. So it was kind of hard to relate and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? What size do you need? Nobody ever knows what size they need. They're just like, this is big. And you're like, okay. So it was kind of an adjustment because it's like you sit here and you talk all day about design and everything and all these little things that go into it. And you nerd out and you talk about papers, different types of papers, and then you get to a place where there really aren't any designers and there's just kind of missing that collaboration.
That's good. Great.
It would definitely be the production side. Working at a print shop allowed me to realize that math plays a huge part in trying to make sure all of the graphic that you design lives on the product that you decide to have it, printed on. So that was really good to actually just learn the production side about graphic design.
How prepared were you from digital publishing?
I was prepared enough to deal with it on the computer, but I learned hands-on when I had got the job. So it was more so like the computer side. I
I send off to the print shop now.
yeah, please do.
And
I think dealing with print shops, that's a good one. Learning what I've learned now is not just assume that it's a blanket, way of sending things. At different print shops have different, different requests. So learning to always ask and not just assume that you know the answer.
yeah.
For transition between school and work.
Yeah.
Probably, getting over the initial stress of nobody's going to be coming along after me and cleaning up my work. No teacher's going to come and do me a grade. It has to actually be perfect the first time I do it. But feeling that kind of mental transition was a little did you go from having a nice syllabus and schedule to getting ready to doing all of a sudden
I think we're taking it too easy on them. I think we're too easy on y'all. Angela, what has surprised you or what did you not expect about working as a professional?
I think during school, it's kind of a known thing. Group projects aren't the favorite thing to do, but I found that once I got into the field, I actually really loved the group projects. I really enjoy collaborating with other people and you get so many more ideas and you can really grow on your own ideas. But I think also you really get to hone in on why you're making the decisions you're making, because people are going to ask why. And so to be able to have to answer that and explain your thought process and the outcome that you're wanting to get out of the message you're giving or whatever it may be, I found that surprising, but I really liked it, because I think in school I don't want to do group projects, I just want to do it myself, but they're really beneficial and it's real life. You're going to have to work with other people and it's fun.
Robin, what surprised you?
What surprised me after becoming a professional? I haven't quite been like in a room with other graphic designers, so I haven't gotten the right feedback on my things, because like I'll show my coworkers this or that and they'll be like, oh, that's fantastic, and I'm like, I think so. Like, because they just can't give me that proper feedback. Not that I don't enjoy it, I like when people like my things, but I'm just like, are you sure? Should I maybe move this over a little? So it's kind of been interesting not getting that feedback from your peers and things like that. And kind of like being confident in the decisions that you're making, especially when you're not with a like-minded group.
Yeah. Pat?
I'm thinking about what a great example of, I was working on the election in previous software in a different way that I was kind of hated my boss, like, well, if you like the lighting here, you like that. And he was like, I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's good.
A little more specific. Like, I know this isn't your area of expertise, but other than the vibe matches, I'm not.
As a person, do you like this?
But kind of having to guess that my work is good enough. I
Yeah.
feel like I've done some a long time.
The most surprised people be the business side of graphic design. Joining the print shop graphic design team taught me a lot too, where like if you plan on your own business and do not want to work for the team as long, it's good to, be more of a contractor rather than like only because you have to sign contracts stating that, you're not going to take their clients, you're not going to keep the files and things like that. So when I joined the team, the owner, they wasn't really particular about the portfolio of mine, so that was good. It was more my personality, so that shocked me. I'm ready for my portfolio to be looked at, and everything. And basically, one of the managers was Lone Star alumni, so that was also a plus. So just being ready, besides, bringing your portfolio, just to kind of show them what you are capable of doing. So the business side really taught me a lot to where that ultimately I love to own my own business, so I don't really be tied into any contract. And the radius of your business also plays a huge part when you're joining graphic design team.
Robin, looking back on being a BizCom student, what information or process did you learn that you feel has benefited you the most?
I still do a lot of brainstorming. The whole mind map and stemming off of things, that still is very relevant in my life. Because, you try to think of something maybe you didn't find on Pinterest, and you kind of try to think outside of the box, and you want to come up with something that nobody's seen. Just as a little side note, I did bring my portfolio for anyone that wants to see when we're done, just to see, because like a lot of that was me campaigning for the entire county. I made all those graphics. I try not to look on Pinterest. I really tried to, it was a campaign entirely made by me. So the mind map really helped me get there and know exactly what I was going for.
Chat.
I think the life of idea process at the start is a great job in helping prepare me to be flexible and to have skills that I wasn't initially anticipating I was going to use, but later on, as a student example of such a great work being used. Being flexible, learning to organize my files,
lot of the work right now that I'm getting is fix something that a designer left undone, or take an accompaniment piece to something that was already done. So you're looking at old files and seeing how important file management is and how you set that up to not only like your success, but whoever's doing it next is really good. So I still line them up just like y'all taught. But I think that, and then the creative process for sure. It's easy to slough off the creative process and think that you can, but it's so important to get back to paper, pen and paper, probably good. But it makes a big difference.
Organization, time management, file management, all play a huge part of this learning. Also, just a person that stays on task and what's important and what's not. I'm more of like a visual person, so I also use like a lot of the features like the calendar or Trello, for example, because I have an assistant, so she helps out with projects whether it's brainstorming or looking at color fonts and whatnot. It's important for me to be organized in order for her to follow suit. Just taking on that process, incorporating into my business, it just played a huge role.
Kat, what advice would you have for any future VisCom graduates?
Save all of your projects to put them in your portfolio.
Yes.
Save all the files.
Putting the portfolio together is more work than it sounds like.
All those packaged files.
Yes, all the properly packaged files, all your nice neat file organization. Because, yeah, putting the portfolio together was more slow than I thought it would be. I was like, well, where did I do this? I remember I had that project, going digging through nesting and nesting of folders and back when I first started college. And I can't even go to all those. Well, I don't need to do those.
And saving the original files, because
Yeah, not just the final version. Like, you never know what you might do that or something out of higher size, or go back and change things now that you have better skill level and you go, I can fix that, make it a little bit better.
yes. Robin?
The portfolio class is essential. I really appreciated the fact that this program was like all throughout it. They were like, be as creative as you want to be, because this is going to be the most creative you ever get to
Did
be.
you lie?
And that was totally true, by the way. But I feel like my downfall in some of the interviews that I've had before where I am now, I feel like there wasn't enough, because you'll see if you look, it's very colorful and everything. I don't really have a lot of corporate pieces, if you will, like nothing neat and clean and minimalist. And I feel like, when you're going to that first interview after this program, you should be able to show a wider diversity. It's really cool that you can do all these fun, creative, colorful things, but my recommendation to you is to, have two sides to this. Show them that you can do anything.
Advice. I would say, really just never stop learning. Don't think that your associates and your student and think that it's done from there. There's just so much more to learn, and I feel like it gets more and more fun. And that's when you know you're really doing what you're meant to be doing, is when literally learning after you feel like you got that degree and this and that, just continue to do it. I think also one of my teachers said every day in class is like a job interview. And I never knew how real that was going to be. He was my first boss right after school. So I think it's also important to remember how important these teachers are, these professors, and that they want you to do just as well as you want to do. And so if you put in the work and really take it seriously and want to learn, the sky's the limit.
My advice would just be very proud of your work. Don't be afraid to release your portfolio. The day I announced that I graduated, I just said, hey, I'm going to just send my portfolio to everybody on my social media page. Guess what? I got my first client, and I wasn't ready for the industry. I was ready to, join a graphic design team and come back 2 years and work for myself. So don't doubt yourself. You join the program for a reason, that is to learn the fundamental and find your niche. The it may not be for this job, but if you favor the niche of this industry or this team, go for it because you don't want to work and it becomes like just a job. You know, you want to enjoy it because art is what you make out of it. So just be bold and just really go out there and get yourself a gift because people are out there want to work with you. They want to see what you're capable of doing, all the skills that you learn, you can apply it every day that you show up for work. So just be authentic and trust yourself, trust the process. Y'all will be there.
Questions now? Y'all have any questions for our panelists? Doc?
I guess my question is when you first get into the industry after graduating, is it hard not to compare your work with other people's work?
For me, it's not. Once you mentally separate yourself, it's more like you're a team rather than like you're not coming to be competitive. You know, you do that when you're on social media and trying to get a client for your niche. But when you like in the industry, you just gotta realize that this is a team work, not something that you're trying to do for yourself. So for me, I separated mentally, when I do my job, hey, your work must speak for itself.
My first interview out of school, I was competing with a guy who graduated with me, and he was fantastic. He's fantastic. And he got that job before I did. The guy finally contacted me, and he was like, oh, hey, by the way, we hired somebody else. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But, you know, I couldn't even be mad about it because he was great. But, you know, yeah, sure, it affects you for a little bit. You kind of sit there and you're like, oh, well, you know, somebody's work better than mine. But you really have to sit there and trust and like what you do. Like, the things that you put out should be something that you like. You know, like, yes, you're working for a client, but I feel like there's this undertone of like, I'm proud of this. I did this. So just keep that in mind. Even if somebody gets ahead of you, like, do not give up.
Pat?
Yeah, it is pretty neat to see other people's work as another generation. They've been able to do usually like 20 years to start not looking their work and feel creative, even though they've been at 20 years and then at the same time, it's also a little bit kind of encouraging in my life and you're like, this is where I'm going. I might not be at the level where I want to be at yet, but I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I'm well on my way to making stuff like that. Kind of pushing you forward as well.
Yes. I think comparison is a natural human thing, you know, but I think you have to look at it in a certain way of what are you wanting to get out of that? Like, I try to look at things of, if I look at someone else's work, what do I really like about their work? As opposed to, is this one better than this one? You know, so trying to pinpoint things that can help you grow, as opposed to just, which one's better? Because it's arbitrary, you know, and someone could take a panel of 10 people and they're all gonna have different opinions.
Yes.
So learning why you gravitate towards something just makes you better.
Any other questions? Yes.
I want to know about when I first applied for, do you have any internships or I don't have like an intern at all?
So I was an intern right out of school, and then grew within the company. But yeah, it was an internship for me right out the gate.
Anybody else start as an intern?
I didn't start as an intern. I worked like 9 months for myself and then I put my resume on Indeed. So I was able to be a part of the team like 9 months later. So I didn't directly go into the industry. I kind of like started working for myself. And that was unexpected. So it's kind of like a hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes you get internships right out of college. Sometimes hire you on while you're in college. You just never know. So it's kind of, you know, when you're ready, when you're going to expose yourself to get hired on.
And did you do an internship? Yeah, so experience when I was doing internship with doing my first work with them, and I was also, when I first started my job at Cher last year, I was kind of like a junior animator, and we did really simple projects and doing for part-time as I was in Cher. So that job really was a full-time job.
No, I mean, because my full-time job at the library, they don't even call me a graphic designer, but that's what they hired me for. You know, because they were like, oh yeah, you're gonna be a library service specialist, but I see you have a degree in graphic design, and we do a lot of programs and a lot of marketing.
So you're doing all
So
of it.
you're doing all of it, yeah, exactly.
So you think you got that job because of your graphic design?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Anyone else have a question? Yes?
I know which class to take.
I'm sorry?
I know which class to take.
Ah, we can help you with that. What are you into? What do you want to be when you grow up? Well, we can we have, is William downstairs? We have our advisors downstairs who can help you through everything. You can talk to any one of us and see what we teach. And, you know, if you like us, you can look at the projects and say, I want to do that. I wouldn't take all of them. Take them all.
All of them.
Actually, so our visual communications program has several different tracks: animation, web design, graphic design, video and post-production, motion graphics. Yet, all of those tracks have some of the same courses, and they're all entry-level courses. So even if you think, oh, I don't know which way I'm going to go, you can still start in those entry-level courses that you have to take anyway. And maybe through those courses, you start picking up and figuring out which area you're liking better, and then you can make a decision. So you can take classes without wasting money and wasting time. They'll still go towards whatever degree you end up doing. So those are the classes I would recommend. If you're not sure, well, I can at least give you 2 or 3 classes you definitely want to focus on that you're going to need them no matter where you go.
Any more questions?
Oh, she wanted.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment. When I took that reading model class, I've never touched the reading before in my life. I am going to be the absolute worst in this class. I'm going to be barely scraping by. And I was amazed by how much I felt like that. So it was a random decision just to fill up extra credit hours. And it was the best decision I made.
I found out that I really can't do web. I found out that I was terrible at web design by taking web design. Yes.
Can any of you speak to the overlap between multiple disciplines? Like, for example, Robin, you mentioned you thought it was just going to be design, but there's also some writing. Like, what about photography, videography, or even specifically within videography, like lighting and things like that? Have you guys had any experience where overlap with other creative disciplines benefited you? Can you talk to that a little bit?
Oh, definitely. I did have to learn the video editing and everything like that. Nobody had that program. I had the program. They were like, great, we'll give you time to look at YouTube and then you can figure it out. We've also made, specific to my library's branch, we were making postcards for the summer reading program. Like, everybody made their postcards. I actually went out and I took a picture with my phone. They have this really antique bench and like a little handprint wall, and I made it look really artsy. So I mean, like, you have to branch out and do your own things because not everyone's going to supply you with what you need. And even with the marketing job that I just started, they have approved photos, but they're limited. And so I did have to reach out to them and be like, hey, how do you feel about me finding some stock, free stock photos and things like that? Here, I'll send you a couple of samples, see if you guys like it. And, they did. So, I mean, you have to kind of maneuver to keep up with people's demands, for sure, and learn new things.
For me, being that I'm a jack of all trades and I own my own business, so it was very important and still important that I know like how to edit my own videos, how to do my own lighting, photography, getting into the industry and like marketing myself, advertising myself. So I do it all. So it was very important that I apply what was learned here at Lone Star to even be successful on a daily basis. So when you're the owner, you're going to be behind the scenes doing everything until you build your own team. So yes, back and forth. What day I'm going to be, what today I'm going to be, what coach I'm going to be on today. Every day is something different. So, just be organized and knowing what your next day is going to, inquire to where you know what to do and what to bring to the table.
Any other questions? Yes. Dion?
Have you guys ever encountered projects in the creative process and been like, oh, I don't know if I like this, and how do you deal with it? Like, still be like, oh, at the end be like, I kind of like this.
Just keep working through it until you get to a place where you like it. I've come to find that if you have something that you're really on the fence about, if you don't know that you really like what you've done, if you present that and something else that you love, somehow or another, someone's going to pick the one you don't like. So getting to a place where you keep working it until you're confident with what you're doing, I think is really important. Someone will choose the one you don't like, and it's out there.
For me, it would be editing videos, and I like editing videos, but I know for sure which niche to like advertising. So for example, I did used to do editing for a church. That could be tend to be boring. You have to sit there and listen. So I tend to work through the like less advertised for church. Not to be funny, but sometimes the sermons can be a little boring or not. So it can become repetitive when you have to listen over to make sure they're not saying anything. And then web design. That's one of these favorites in the industry as well. I work through it because it's more money. So it kind of depends on like, okay, it's boring, but I'm going to keep working through it because I'm going to get paid. You know, so it just depends on, you know, what's bringing in the bread and butter and what is not. So you just have to deceive, especially when you're trying to get compensated for it.
Anybody else have anything?
There was another,
Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, so I know everyone's different, and everyone goes through this, but what do you guys do when you guys have like a burnout, like where you're taking a break but you still keep that inspiration going?
For me, I believe in taking breaks. I believe in taking naps. I take a nap every day. That's my refresh. And when I'm burnt out, I usually go on vacation, but I'm still active in the creative field. I'm a blogger, so I love to blog as well, but I'm still being creative. I'm still giving back to what I, committed to. So just taking a break, taking a nap for me, as simple as, 30 minutes. I even take 5 minutes.
But only if you're working at
So whatever
home.
it takes.
Don't do that.
Don't do it in the office.
Don't have to do
Not in the
that.
office, Don't do it in the office. But if it's on your break, you can nest. You can nest.
Or in class.
Right, you can nest. But being that, when you get to the point where you can get burned out, just take a break and get a refreshed eye and come back and look at the project like, oh, now I see it. So just know when to pause.
Andy, what are you doing to get burnt out?
A little mental break, I think is important. A time when you can take, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes of absolutely no information coming in your mind. Like, don't be scrolling on your phone. If it's just sitting at the table, a glass of wine, whatever it may be, after work. But
And after you turn 21?
having a moment to, because I think as a creative, your mind is always going. And so reminding yourself to take mental breaks is important. But with our phones, I find that I try to start doing that, like implementing it every day, to have at least 5 minutes a day where I'm doing that. But I'll find myself on my phone, and then you're still bombarded with all this information. So really taking the time to like put that down and just have a moment. And then kind of, I don't know if it's ironic or not, but sometimes when I get burned out, I'll just get on YouTube and find a new tutorial for something that I have no idea how to do. And then you just learn something new, and it exhilarates something in you, of like reminding you why you're doing it. So 2 different ways of doing it, but either completely shut off or learn something new.
I still like to do creative things even when I am burnt out, but I kind of choose more mindless activities, like something I don't have to think about too much. I love coloring still as an adult, so I have my little adult coloring book, and I'm just like, la la la, and yeah, sure, I might still think about the project and things like that, but it's like, it's almost like a meditation for me, because I'm just sitting there like, maybe I should do that, maybe I should do this, and then, so it's like just a little bit more of a mindless activity, something that I don't have to think too much about, or it's kind of like my quiet time, because I can't think about a project that I'm burnt out on if I'm staring at the screen. Like I have to step away. I can still think about it, you know, but I have to step away from the screen because it'll drive me crazy.
Kat, what do you do when you work out?
Go outside usually.
Very good,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just go on a quick walk. Sometimes I have to go even if it's like there's somewhere really hot outside. Like, if there's one thing that'll take your mind off of the project,
Sweating. Sweating.
But yeah, just getting moving, getting out of the chair, getting away from the screen. But also sometimes switching parts of art, like when maybe it's currently a 3D project that I'm stressing out about, I'll try to just pick up a sketchbook and start sketching from 2D, or if it's the 2D animation that I'm worried about, in a few minutes we go back to modeling, just kind of switching gears a little bit, maybe something we can do, frame in front of these like that.
Usually creatives can't turn off their creative part, so just switching creative
Switching
activities.
videos, yeah.
Well, I think my question back to kind of what was like, when you have a creative block, I mean, I'm assuming it's just like a burnout, but like, how do you get past that blockage? Like, if nothing's coming to your mind, you need to walk away from it. That's what I do when you right now.
Definitely walk away from it, or if it just, I cannot get rid of it, I'll call another designer like, hey, something is bugging me, I'm not gonna be able to rest until it's complete, can you help me out? And, you know, getting help sometimes when I just can't shut it off, you know, someone else can kind of ease the workload.
Yeah, networking is good, and I think even if you're working on a project, to go back to your creative process and start from the beginning might not be the worst option. Or if you take like small things, like you have a general idea, maybe you had a couple branches, and then maybe try and branch off those branches and see if something else comes up for you. Because what you think about a week ago and what you might think about today, I don't know how many projects I changed when I was in school. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like 2 weeks later, no, we're gonna do that. It changes constantly, but just having that organization of your thoughts in that creative process really helps.
I find the first list are pretty good way to just like spew out a bunch of ideas.
Anything.
99% of them are going to be terrible. But
Yeah.
you only need that 1%.
Oh, yeah. I have one of my case studies that still makes me laugh because I'm like, what did you think about that for?
All right, guys, we got some swag to think about.
Can you guys talk about the value of curiosity, not just accepting an answer, accepting what's given to you, and just saying yes, okay, and doing it, but pausing for a moment and asking some questions to better understand what's needed from the client, from the teammate, from the boss, whoever it may be that you're working with. Can y'all talk about the value of curiosity?
I feel like if you just hear what they have to say and you shoot like a rocket and you get started, there's gonna be things that you're gonna turn around and be like, hey, so did you wanted it this way, that way? It's really good to just hammer out those details like ahead of time, because you'd hate to start like an all blue project and they're like, but we wanted yellow. Well, you didn't say yellow. So it's good to like really get into the reasons of why they want what they want, and ask those questions. Ask those questions before you get started, because it can be a long process on some of these projects. If you're doing a campaign and you gotta start over, I mean, that's just gonna be disheartening to you itself, but you know, they're gonna be like, well, just ask. So, I mean, just asking those questions and really digging into why they want what they want is super important to ask right away.
Not being afraid to ask questions, you know, what you can do. Like, the more questions you ask, the more it benefits you and benefits the other person. It helps when you're questioning somebody, it helps them to take a minute of, wait, why am I asking for this? So what is the real goal that I want to hear? And then on my side, the more questions I ask and they answer, the more I'm getting into their head of why they need the project in the first place. And then you're learning more and more the more questions you ask of how they're thinking things through, what's the full outcome that you're wanting to get.
And curiosity started my journey as a graphic designer, so I incorporated that every time I have a client. So I go through a consultation with each client, and I have like 7 steps that helps me stay within the process and be like on task where I don't have to go back to the drawing board. So for example, each time I have a client, I build off their problems and I incorporate it into the next consultation, because like, oh, I forgot to ask this question, I'm going to incorporate it so next time I don't even have to stumble on it. So each client will help you build your questionnaire, help you ask questions up front. So just being mindful of what those problems are each client you have will help you, start the process much better. It'll be much easy for you. So sometimes having to work with a hard client or like a difficult client can help build your questionnaire, can help build your rules and your policy. So just look at every obstacle as a learning process. We're not going to go with this because we're going to incorporate it right away. And sometimes in my consultation, I do another Zoom meeting just to make sure I'm on task. I'm very reassurance person, so I don't want to okay, I'll talk to you Monday. We don't talk for another 3 months. No, we're going to incorporate. We're going to stop here. We're going to go revisit the board just to make sure that we're both on the same page. We're both communicating. You have a due date. I have a due date. Let's meet back in the middle. So just be mindful. Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you to the panelists. I love having y'all back here. Our QR codes, like the one you see across the way, we need your input. Please, before you leave, complete the little survey. It'll take you like 1 minute to complete the little survey. Please! They're posted everywhere. We got some free giveaways to give away.
Alright guys, I have made it back home safely from the tech event that took place here tonight. Oh my God, it felt just like a Lone Star College reunion. It felt so good to be actually in the same room as my former professors and even join the panel with some of my former college friends. I feel like we handled ourselves very well and shared our experience in our own way. And the attendees was very engaged. They had questions afterwards. So I'm just grateful that I had this opportunity to come back as a panelist and have my big sister, my assistant, one of my friends, and my brother-in-law to join me physically. Thank you guys who all sent well wishes virtually. I felt love all the way around. So I'm just super excited. And as y'all can see, I done took the blazer off, get ready to wipe this makeup off, put this wig on the shelf. With that being said, I do encourage everyone to subscribe to our YouTube channel because every Sunday we will be uploading a new vlog just for you. So tell a friend, hit that subscribe button, and turn the notifications on because we'll be back next week.